Let's talk family. Let's talk family about the things that impact us as individual family members, as a whole, as a community family, and as a country family. Let's Talk Family Live. Let's Talk Family is a program brought to you by Family Life Ministries. Family Life Ministries is a counseling organization that primarily offers individual, family, and relationship counseling. We have counselors who are available to speak on a number of subjects for your conferences for church, school, or work. Family Life Ministries is also known for its media programs, the divorce recovery program Fresh Start, and its company counseling package, the Employee Assistance Program. Visit our website at www.familylifeministriesjamaica.com. Find us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries or on Instagram at FLMJA, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA. We'll give our numbers at the end of this program. Now here's today's episode of Let's Talk Family.
Good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Family. Hi, I'm your host, Nicola Carrara. Our verse today is 1 Corinthians 13, verse 7. Love always protects, love always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Physical touch, it's one of the 5 love languages. Do you know them all? They are words of affirmation, gifts, quality time, acts of service, and yes, physical touch. Sonia Wynter is well acquainted with these love languages. She is a licensed associate clinical psychologist and will be spending the next few minutes with us to talk about physical touch. Welcome to Let's Talk Family, Mrs. Wynter.
Hey there, Nikki. I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me back on the show.
Oh, you're so welcome. I am so excited about this, this love language thing. It's great. It's wonderful. And I'm learning so much. So today we want to learn about physical touch in the context of the love languages. What does it mean?
Okay, so people who speak and thrive on this love language, they appreciate any type of physical touch. Hand holding, maybe hugs or pats on the back. They just thrive. I mean, generally as human beings, most of us thrive from physical touch. For people whose primary love language is physical touch, it's almost like they communicate through the power of touch and they feel affirmed, they feel safe, they feel, content and bonded to people who touch them in a certain way, in a gentle, kind, and compassionate way.
You said in a certain way, gentle, kind, and compassionate. So I really want to get to this. Is there a touch that is bad? Because some people may not like the physical touch. It may bring up something about their past. What happens in a case like this?
In that case, physical touch is not this person's love language. And in fact, for many people, particularly people who have experienced physical trauma, touch can often be a very triggering and unpleasant experience. So this is a person that we're not speaking about this person at all when we talk about using the love language of physical touch. There's some people also that it's not even about trauma. People who are tremendously ticklish, they become very anxious as people get closer and come into their personal space. Yes. You know what I mean? And so they do not speak love language. They do not speak physical touch as their love language. Okay? So we're speaking specifically to the person for whom a touch makes them feel comfortable, safe, secure, not anxious, not afraid, not threatened.
Okay, but what about the woman who says, well, if you don't beat me, he don't love me?
Well, again, that's something that life's experiences have taught her. It's not healthy. It's not healthy at all, because now we're not talking about physical touch. We've gone over into physical abuse. And even if her understanding of physical abuse is that it's an expression of love, it is a warped understanding of love. And it's something that is extremely detrimental to the self-worth, to the physical safety, and to the mental health of the person who is experiencing that kind of event.
Oh, wow. So then who decides what touch or touches are loving?
That's something that life almost teaches us. So if I'm in a relationship with somebody, it's almost through experimentation. It's almost through by being and experiencing touch of different types with this person that reveals to me and the person who is interested in me what kind of touch makes me feel comfortable and what kind of touch does not make me feel comfortable. So it's a bit of a learning experience rather than an active decision taken by any one person.
Okay, that's good to know. But now we're in COVID time, Sonia. With all this social distancing, how are we doing this physical touch now?
Do you know what? We're not allowed to physically touch. And there are several studies that were just released over the last 2 or 3 weeks that I came across that's showing how people's mental health in general is suffering because they're not able to connect by physical touch. Remember earlier I said that by and large, human beings thrive from a certain type of touch. In fact, mammals thrive from touching. But for some people, it means more to them than the average person. And that would be the person whose love language is physical touch. But the fact that all of us can't touch anymore is having an effect on our mental health and our well-being. Because remember what I said in a couple of shows back, that we are social animals and we experience that social safety quite often by touching is one way that we experience that. So I've had this experience. I don't know if you've noticed it, Nicola, where you've been around somebody, particularly children. You know, my nieces and nephews have come to visit. And when they're leaving, there's this yearning in me to hold on to them. And as they leave and you can't touch them, you feel this longing that's just not satisfied. And it's because your need for physical touch and expressing connection to this person in that way is frustrated.
Wow. So what can you do? And even in a long distance relationship, because it seems like this is becoming the same thing with the social distancing and the long distance relationships. What can we do to actually feel that physical touch in some way?
You know what I would say? I would say that what we have to do is lean perhaps on the other love languages. Sure, it might not be the primary love language of some individuals, but maybe what we have to do is then lean on the others, lean on a secondary love language or express another type, you know. And then, of course, always just being able to share what's going on. For instance, my husband traveled recently, and when he came back, he had to be quarantined in the house. So here he was some yards away from me, and we could only talk to each other and we couldn't touch. And I felt my mood just becoming dark. And it took me perhaps a week or so to realize that just the need to touch this person that's so important to me and not being able to was having an effect on me. And then just being able to talk about it, share, you know, give words to it, bring it to light, kind of helped to ease the burden that was causing. And I guess we have to look toward a better day. You know, we're being told that 2021, we can't be too optimistic that everything about 2020 is going to be undone. But I guess we have to have hope that a day will return when we once again can kind of interact with each other in ways that are comforting. And hopefully also what we learn from it is to appreciate it and not take it for granted, you know, having been deprived of it for such a long time.
That's true. You know, something just dropped into my head. So I just want to go over it with you. What if, say, a husband, they're not around, they're stuck in 2 different countries, sent a teddy bear, a little teddy bear, to his wife and says, put his cologne on it and say, whenever you feel for a hug, just hug the teddy bear.
I love that idea. I love that idea, Nicola. Very creative. And as I said, you know, long distance relationships require a tremendous amount of creativity, and couples have to be so deliberate. You know, I think that long distance relationship is not something you take on casually without deliberacy, planning, recognizing that you're going to have to go the extra mile if your relationship is going to continue to thrive with this huge stressor as a part of it. And so that's a creative idea for bonding across the miles, for sure.
Yeah, and you know what I found also, you spoke about children, because I do work with children also, and it does break my heart because they come running up, Auntie Nikki, and I'm like, oh, COVID.
Of course.
You know, we can have fun with the ways we can touch, like the elbow, you're like, elbow me, or, you know, give me your leg or something like that. So I think in essence, creativity and loving the little touch, whatever touch you can do, you know, we may not be able to shake hands.
That's certainly a good point, Nikki, for sure.
Yeah, because we may not be able to shake hands and we may not be able to hug. But again, as you say, appreciate what you can do and when you can do it, and to be creative about it. So, Sonia, what about PDA? You're just expressing all this touching just in front of everybody. and the other person is uncomfortable. How do you work that out?
Okay, it's the easiest example to use is in an intimate relationship, and that does happen often, where one person has a need to be all over, hugging, touching in your lap, rubbing your head all over, whereas the other person's almost like their personal space, they're more protective of it and they're very uncomfortable. Their partner is important to them. They're kind of uncomfortable when they feel like their partner is intruding on them, when their partner crosses that, that personal space line. That does happen a lot. And it is in those situations, it's again, communication, being able to identify what's going on with you, how you're responding to the other person, being open and authentic about it. It's a difficult conversation to have sometimes because the person who has the need for physical touch can often feel a sense of rejection. And so it's how to be open about your need. And again, it's a negotiation, because, I might not be able to have you hugging me all the time, but if we go out, I will hold your hand for, say, a few minutes until between the car and the house or something like that. And that might satisfy you. But it's a negotiation. And always in these difficult negotiations, when you can get to the point of where humor is involved, like, I know you're something else. I know you and your hands. What are you, an octopus or something like that? And you can introduce humor into it. Humor kind of breeds a sense of acceptance. You know what I mean? My love language is not about you and it's not about rejecting you. It's just what I understand and what's comfortable for me. How do we work together around this and come to a negotiated position where both of us feel heard and understood more than anything else?
Right. And getting the love language that is needed also.
Right. But I think what we're saying is sometimes you're not going to get it to the extent that you want it. It's going to be give and take. You know what I mean? Because one person may just not be comfortable. And so it's a give and take, okay, I won't be all over you all of the time, but, can you hold my hand? So I'll feel more secure when you hold my hand if we go out, and I'll give you a personal space when we're at home, for example, since you're not so comfortable with the touchy all of the time. So it's about sharing, being open, and then together being able to come to a negotiated position.
Right. So it's compromise. And then maybe you could find out what that person's secondary love language is and probably give that instead.
Exactly, for sure. So I'm willing to give up a little bit of my needs in exchange to satisfy your secondary love language and vice versa or something like that. Compromise, as you said.
Compromise and communicate. That's very important. Mrs. Sonia Wynter, thank you so much for this series. It has been so informative. I know I have learned a lot, and one day I will be able to put it in practice with probably another partner. So just thanks a lot for all that you've said, and I just want you to be blessed, and also all the listeners who are just hearing us right now. Thank you all, and remember, love better.
And you feel my life, you're everything to me, and there's nothing else I need anymore.
This was Let's Talk Family, a production of Family Life Ministries. If you or anyone you know would like advice and counseling, call us or head office at 1 Cecilio Avenue at 876-926-8101, 876-929-4360, or 876-920-1034, or center in Portmore at 117 Cecile Avenue at 876-939-7917.
Do you have a story of a personal miracle you'd like to share? We'd love to hear it. Send us messages via our Facebook page, FLM Family Life Ministries, or to our Instagram account at FLMJA. And you can listen to other miracle stories on our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries -FLM_JA. Share your miracle for the glory of God.
This program was produced at the studio of the United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, located at 12 Carlton Crescent, Kingston 10. Call us at 876-926-6059 for information about our most competitive rates for your voiceover and broadcasting needs.